Debex, amplifying voices, accelerating change.
Please help me welcome to the stage Andrea Fries.
I'm a hoarder. In recovery. No, I don't have an official diagnosis, but I consider myself a hoarder nonetheless. I have 72 glass candle jars because I worked somewhere that threw them out when the wick burned too low. And until recently, I had 8 of my own baby teeth, which is kind of sweet when a mother does it, and really, really weird if you do it for yourself. But I'm not just a hoarder, I'm a good one. Because the secret to good hoarding is to be super organized, which is no easy task when I have so much. But when I come up with that system, it's artistry. I fancy myself as a bit of an artist, which goes well with hoarding, because if you're creative enough, anything can become an art project. There's such a thrill when I'm making something, and I remember the thing that I'd have that'd be the perfect addition. And when I can find that thing, oh, that's even better. I save every scrap of wallpaper, wrapping paper, fabric, because I know I can think of a use for it. Eventually. There's some things I'm not even sure why I still have. Like, do you ever have food in the fridge and you don't know if it's bad yet? So you just hold on to it until you're absolutely sure that it is? There's a lot like that in my house. There's things I don't think I need, but why not hold on until I'm sure? Most people have to run to the store when they need something. I don't. I buy on sale, collect from other people, and I have a pretty good stock. In fact, by the age of 30, I had amassed enough stuff that when I moved into my first ever house, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,500 square foot house, I actually didn't have enough space for all of it. Now, it wasn't immediately apparent because I started living there for a few weeks before I moved the stuff in. But trust me, when that moving truck came, it filled up fast. But the best thing about having so much stuff that became clear when I moved into that empty house, being surrounded by things was an incredibly effective way of distracting and numbing myself from how unhappy I was. By the age of 30, I had known for years that I was depressed, and I had had plenty of panic attacks in college and at work. But those few weeks living in that empty house, without all the noise of possessions around, I've never felt more lonely or had more anxiety. Over the course of my life, I'd done something that I think a lot of us do. I built an identity out of possessions. And without them, even for that short period, I was lost. Everything I just told you about being a hoarder was a lie. All lies I've told myself, but still lies. I'm not proud of being a hoarder. I am ashamed of how I live. And all that stuff I have, it's overwhelming and it stresses me out. It takes a lot of brain power to remember everything and to think of use for it, and I don't want to have to think about it anymore. My house is full of visual reminders of projects I haven't finished, time I've wasted, and money I've spent on things I don't know if I'll ever use. And I am not the only one. In the last 40 years, the average size of the American household has increased by 1,000 square feet, and our average household expenditures have doubled in the last 30. Self-storage has become a $38 billion industry. $38 billion to hold on to things. What have you sacrificed for your things? How many hours have you worked to afford all your possessions? And how many more hours have you worked to afford a place to keep all those possessions? How much time do you waste moving stuff around your house, trying to find enough space or the right place for everything that you have? I thought I was saving time, saving money by saving things. But the exact opposite was true. And what's worse is the more I accumulated, the more I trapped myself in this idea that who I am is defined by what I have. We all play this game. Having the nice car or intentionally having the not nice car. Like it says anything about who you are as a person. Or if it's not a car, it's which phone you have, how many books you own, what video game system you play on, or how you dress. And there may be some of you sitting out there thinking, well, I'm a minimalist. I don't have a problem with having too much. But your identity of being a minimalist is as much an identity based off of things as mine of being a hoarder. We all run the risk of letting what we do have define our lives. And if you define yourself by what you own, then who you are can be broken or destroyed by a sudden tragedy like a fire, losing your job, getting a divorce, or in my case, moving into an empty house. Think of those things that you own and cherish. Pick one. Would you become less if you let go of it? Would who you are be diminished by that loss? When Eckhart Tolle, world-famous spiritual leader, asked these questions to a dying woman, it brought her freedom and peace. Because we don't always get to decide what we can hold on to. Look at what's happening in the news today. Fires, floods, hurricanes, landslides. Time and time again, people are devastated when they lose everything. And yet, they find a way to survive without their possessions. Because what you have or don't have does not determine who you are. Like, have you ever thought, if I just had a set of matching towels, then I'd feel like an adult? And then you got those towels and you realized that wasn't it. I've yet to find a possession to acquire or get rid of that made me feel like a real grown-up. But I have learned that my identity isn't limited to what I have. When I got rid of my notes from college, I stopped identifying myself as smart and gave myself freedom to not remember everything that had been taught to me. And when I gave away those adorable dresses that no longer fit, I stopped identifying myself as fat whenever I tried to squeeze into one. And when I gave away things I've been holding on to for my children, well, I don't know if I'll ever have children. But having or not having a Malibu Barbie isn't going to impact that decision. I'm not saying to have things or to not have things. I'm just looking to create freedom from identifying with your things. Because while I may be a hoarder, I am not my stuff. Thank you.